Pete from Retro Racing Lunatics. Dan and I are going to show you a little bit of netplay using the Dolphin emulator and also PSPP. These are great systems if you want to do some online multiplayer racing. Takes a little bit to set up, but it's not complex. But there are a couple of prerequisites, just like Johnny's Retro Bat netplay system. We've also got a couple of scripts that might actually help people if they want to interface this into their retro FE systems, or in this case, I've got Launchbox and Big Box set up for this stuff for Dolphin, Wii, Gamecube, and for PSPP. And what we're going to do is going to start off with racing in this little sort of, I guess, video montage of online play. And then on another weekend, what we'll do is we'll actually show you how to essentially do this same thing, except you're either playing arcade games or, more excitingly, if you want to play light gun games, multiplayer with mates across the country you live in or around the world potentially as well. In this case, I've tested a lot of these out with Dan and Rod, and they're in different parts of Australia. I'm in the southern parts of New South Wales in a little territory capital city called Canberra, and Dan and Rod are much further north than me in northern New South Wales and in Queensland, and we've tested that here, and it's worked really well for both racing and for light guns too. So stay tuned for the light gun setup as well. Couple of prerequisites, just like the RetroBat online build, you need to have a matching emulator, need to have matching ROMs. It's really important to have an Ethernet connection. You could try Wi-Fi, but it can be quite hit and miss. The 5 gigahertz band on Wi-Fi is probably better than the 2.4, mainly because microwave ovens tend to interfere with the lower bands along with other radio signals, so it can be a bit hit and miss there in regards to clean and fast connections. I've got a Ryzen 5 5600 with a 2060 graphics card. Dan has an entirely different system. Rod has an entirely different system. It doesn't matter what systems you've got, as long as it can meet the core requirements of running the Dolphin and running Gamecube, which tends to be a lot more, in my opinion, more resource hungry than the Wii games. PSPP as well. Okay, what else do we need to do? Right, I've got my trusty Logitech G20 in my recently converted racing cabinet. And so I have got a couple of things running behind the scenes, and I've actually just bolted it into actual multiplayer script. So if you're interested in knowing how to set this all up, happy to share the scripting for you. We're not hiding behind any stupid Patreon or stupid firewalls or paywalls or any of this kind of stuff. This is about trying to get some online playing occurring, and maybe we might even do some tournaments and competitions down the track, depending on how many people get interested in amongst it. I've tried this in a local LAN scenario as well. Personally, it might be more to do with my network. It was a little bit hit and miss, but I did get it up and working. But one thing's for certain, doing it online, multiplayer, no dramas whatsoever. So anyway, I will show you firstly what I've got running in the background. So as part of the script, you'll see that I've got a multiplayer icon in my Launchbox, my personal Launchbox build, that I've got to trigger netplay under the Gamecube, and then I've got a similar one here, all to do with Wii. In PSPP, I didn't need to do that, which was really good, because it does have a netplay feature integrated into the menu system, but there's a few tricks to that as well. But again, they're not complex tricks, and hopefully this video will give you some guidance and a template for you to then run and test and do this with a couple of friends. So the first thing that I have sitting running in the background on my setup, and I'm happy if someone wants to show me there's a better way. I've got two things happening at the moment. Firstly, I've got the trusty X360 CE program that tricks the G29 into being an Xbox controller. So I've got that just scripted in. So it knows that if I'm playing certain consoles or netplay, it switches on in the background, where other systems like Windows systems and Technoparrot systems and the like, it doesn't come on in the background. So I've got that sort of just built into that. I can share and show you how I've done that. But I've just got this open just to demonstrate that's how I've got it. But I'm just going to exit out of that for the time being, because I don't need it. And the other thing that I've got running in the background, obviously, for my G Hub is the G Hub software itself. If you have got a Logitech and you've got, say, G29, this is really important. It's amazing how many people that I've spoken to haven't got this all running in the background, and then wondering why things aren't working the way they should be working. Get used to a thing, and usually sim racers are more familiar with this too, is to have different profiles set up for different things. So in my case, at 99% of the time I'm doing arcade type gameplay, I've got it pointing to a whole range of different emulators, including Switch emulators, Flycast, Dolphin, Xeno, Ryojinx, and the like. In this case, I've got a profile that I have pointed directly to the Dolphin emulator, so it then engages the wheel in its spring effect and the like. I don't have any fancy setup things on this whatsoever. I've just got the sensitivity as default. I've got the wheel range down to 180. That's just a personal preference. It might be 240, 270 or above, but 900 on a console type game is just, to be honest, I think it's just silly, because it's not exactly you're trying to do U-turns and stuff like that, like if you're doing a truck sim. And then I've got the center spring set at 38. So yeah, anyway, so that's what I've got set up behind the scenes there. In Wii, I'm just going to pick cruising, which Dan and I have actually played multiplayer online as well, which is quite a lot of fun. Because like it's a tricky game to get this up and running, because 9 times out of 10 people will think, shit, that it's just not working, and it does. But if you need a hand setting this one up, let us know. It's actually quite a lot of fun. But for the purposes of this setup, I'm just going to go and open up the Dolphin emulator. And I've got this set up just for cruising, because it is a very specific ROM and emulator for that. But we've got this dialed in for multiplayer as well. However, for all the other racing games that I want to use for multiplayer, other than the fact that I've got an icon for it, I'll just say I'll pick, Mario Kart. I'll just go and show you what I've got in Dolphin. And I've got this particular view, which I really, really like. Now, I don't have this for every single, single player game. I just use Launchbox and then drive the games in single player mode. But for multiplayer, I've got the script to launch straight into this kind of view. So in fact, if I then go close this out and then launch this icon, you'll probably hear the wheel engage with X360, and then in theory it should bring up the actual system as well. That will bring up all the games, and hopefully it doesn't make a liar of me. No, it does not. So that means the X360 is engaged in the background and the wheels are going. Again, there might be some very clever people out there that might be able to say, Pete, you can have your cake and eat it and have everything. We would love to hear from you. Like, get amongst it and let us know. But for me, I'm really happy this actually does what it needs to do and shows the games that are currently in my personal collection to do with Wii and Gamecube games. I'm not going to go through and show you how to map the wheel to the controller with the X360 in the background. Happy to do a separate video on that, but most people who've managed to do that is to, it's really quite straightforward. You're just mapping keys to the buttons on the wheel and the pedals. The main thing I wanted to show you is a couple of things. Firstly, to set it up, it's really quite straightforward, but you just go into Tools, and there's two options here: Start NetPlay or Browse NetPlay. Okay, when you first start getting into this, right, make sure you've got write protections turned off on your hard drive because you want to make sure you save the settings. You start a netplay session and you get presented with this particular box. The host code might be different for you, but this is what it's generating for me. You've got a couple of options where it's direct connection, e.g. like a LAN, or traverse server, which is what we're using today to do the multiplayer. And Dan is going to join me shortly, and we're going to go through and connect online. You'll see here I've got, Lunatic Draddy Cab as my nickname. This is just a host code that's just automatically generated. Again, just read the alerts because it tells you a few clues about SD cards and dual core and certain games where it might cause issues. We've seen a few of those. It's a bit of trial and error, but the ones that we've played largely all work, and they're a lot of fun. You then just go, so you can put any name in there, which is going to be important for when you enter the lobby. Then you're going to go to host, and then you're going to tick a few things. So in this case, you can see these are all the games that are listed behind the screen of this dialog box, and I've selected show in server browser. So that way when Dan or someone else wants to connect to my server, they can actually see it in the lobby, which is great. I've selected Oceania because I'm in Australia. I've put in a server name called Draddy Cab, but if Dan was hosting it, you could call it Daddy Cab. And you can add a password if you want to lock people out, which is, obviously if you're, just doing 2 players and you want to optimize your testing and connection, you want to be able to do that. So no, just Joe Average can just join in and get their asses spanked when you're smashing around the track. From there, I might just go, in the case of Mario Kart Wii, I'm going to click on host, and it'll bring up this other dialog box, and then it'll bring up these things in the chat window, and you can see that you've got your host server on the right hand side. So as long as everything sort of ticks on the left hand box, sometimes it'll come up with some warnings and some tips as to what you need to do. And it might be about firewalls, it might be about port forwarding. We'll provide links to the wiki around this below, just to help you navigate through any of those issues. Otherwise, what would happen is Dan, and I'll show you in a moment from my perspective, when he goes at his end, and we might be on headsets or phone, whatever, and say, okay, right, mate, I've got a server set up, and he then goes, no dramas. He'll see my server there, and then he'll connect, and he'll appear in this box. And again, depending on how many people join the lobby, you'll see them jump in. If Dan was actually here, and we'll show you that in a moment, one thing you'll need to do is you'll need to assign controllers. And again, it's not a big step, like it's a real small step really. And the reason why you need to do this is because obviously with the Wii, you could have a multitude of different controllers, like guitars and drums and steering wheels and light guns and arcade controllers and the like. So I suspect that's probably the main reason why they've done it. You can actually also assign other controls to other players. So I'm not sure why you would do that, but I've seen it where I've accidentally assigned myself, and I'm driving Dan's car and he's driving mine because we've got it mixed up. So that's pretty hilarious. But I suspect that's not that's not the reason for it. So in this case, because I've only got one controller because it's on my racing cabinet set up. In fact, I'll probably might try this with a few flying games if there are multiplayer flying games, because then the second controller that I might set up on my flight build might appear as a second controller, which is like my X52 joysticks. But in this case, I'm going to select the racing wheel and go okay. And then you can suddenly, or did I actually not assign that? No, I didn't. I'll pick my wheel, and you'll see that it'll say mapping, and yes, the Wii controller is sorted out. And then from there, you just simply hit start. It'll go through the motions, and I can actually hit start now, even though Dan's not in there, and actually host it. Now, because we weren't in the lobby together, it won't do all the connections, but I guess I'm just giving you a quick demonstration that when it does connect, it will just go through the motion like you're launching a netplay kind of a game through the Wii. So yeah, so anyway, so that's it. Like it's all connected. The wheels got tension. Everything's ready to go, and then we'll do a video where Dan joins in, and we're in there trying to kick each other's ass on Mario Kart, and then we'll then flip, doing the same process, except we're going to then do it on the GameCube using Mario Kart Double Dash. So, which is pretty cool, pretty funky. I really like it. So that's that part, and we'll go to the next part. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of the videos with regards to the Dolphin emulator on Retro Racing Lunatics. I've got Dan on the phone. Say hi, Dan.
How's it going, gang?
And like in part 1, we went through the prerequisites of what you need to get Dolphin up and running. We didn't talk about mapping the controllers because we just assume people will know how to map controllers, and if you've got questions around that, let us know, especially if you want to try and get these things to work on a G29 wheel with some force feedback and the like. What we're going to do now is we're going to go through and do 3 mini parts. The first part is going to be launching within Launchbox, which you can see the GameCube system using Dolphin. And then as part of that, I'll host a game. You'll see Dan join that host, and then we'll have a quick game, and then we'll jump out and then go on to Wii, and then we'll do a separate video with regards to PSPP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and launch the netplay shortcut that I've created in Launchbox here, which works in Big Box as well. It will load my X360 CE in the background, so Dolphin can pick up the steering wheel and everything. And I'm just going to quickly just do that now, so hopefully that will work. Dan in the background, he'll be launching his same emulator version of Dolphin as well. So for us, you'll see in the top left-hand corner, we've got Dolphin 2409. And because I've got my G-Hub software picking up the Dolphin emulator, you can see on my wheel, or you may not be able to see with the camera, but the steering is now locked with the center spring, which is really good. And therefore, when we actually run the game, it should hold the center spring, and if not, at least we'll get the force feedback in the game. This is the panel that we spoke about in the first part of the video. You can see a lot of these games. Not every single one of these games can do multiplayer, but there's been a whole stack, like I said, that we've tried out. We're going to just focus on the Mario Kart because everyone loves Mario Kart, knows what Mario Kart is. But like I said, we've done cruising and a few other games as well. So what I'm going to do is go up into Tools, and then I'm going to go start a netplay session. Dan has gone and done his side of the equation on netplay, so we've got the same emulator, the same ROM, and then I'm going to go into host, and then I'm going to go through and pick Mario Kart Double Dash. And you remember I've got my name, I've got the name of the server, I've ticked show in browser. You can see that it's Oceania. I've got no password at the moment, but that's okay. People want to try and join in, you know, all the power to them. And then I'll click on host, and then you'll see a dialog box come up, and this is the lobby. So Dan, are you okay? Can you now join in onto that server?
Yeah, so I'm just now using the browse netplay search sessions. I can now see DradyCat. Click on that, and then click OK.
Great, and then you can see Dan has joined. And then maybe after this race, Dan, we might then do it where you're hosting and then I join you so people can actually just see it from a different perspective. And here, because I'm hosting the game, I need to now go down to assign controller ports and make sure that I select the right remote for the right player, so we're not controlling each other's carts, and making sure I pick the right one for Dan. I click OK. And this is where it makes a liar of both of us and it crashes, but hopefully I'll just hit start and away you go. And then you'll see the screen start up. In Dan's side of the system, it will do exactly the same thing. and it should just bring it up as quite naturally as what you see it on the screen here. Dan, so just remind me, what part of Australia do you live in again?
So I'm in Queensland, in Brizzy.
In Brizzy, and I'm in Canberra. So it's not like we're next door neighbours. So we've got both got good internet connections. We're both using Ethernet and the like. So now going to start a game in the Gamecube. Again, I can use the steering wheel to do all the controls. If you had 3 players, 4 players, in theory, we could do that. And we might do a video at some stage where we've got a bunch of Aussies because we're all in the same time zones to do that. But for now, we'll just do 2 players. We'll do player versus player and Grand Prix, 50cc. And then you'll see that Dan's controlling his stuff, and I'll be able to control mine. So I'm going to do Yoshi and Luigi. Pick a Jeep. And then Dan's picking his stuff, and what are we going to do? Flower. Oh no, I hate the ice skating ring. We'll just do the mushroom cup.
Gotta bring your A game.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Why am I the top one? I always get confused as to which one I am. Whether I'm top or the bottom. You can probably hear my wheel shudder because it's got the force feedback and everything in it. Keep missing the cubes. Oh, finally. Yeah, piss off. Oh my god, it's the first time I've actually think I've come first for a while. Oh, I missed it. I keep missing the cubes.
Oh, catching.
Bitch. Alright. Oh, I hit the sand.
The heck was that?
That was that I came with the fury, mate. Oh man, was that you? You fucking Diddy Kong. You P Diddy Kong, mate.
Shit.
What the fuck was that? Oh man, I thought that was something I could benefit from.
Mystery Cube.
Mystery Cube.
What is it like?
I think you're going to get me again. This is a problem when you try to run commentary and do that. That's my excuse.
Oh, not at the finish line. What?
Just. At least I didn't bloody end up being last. And there you go, guys. Like that's Dan and I just, and again him serving it to me, beating his chest. And that's run buttery smooth, right, for the GameCube. Dan, was that okay for you at your end?
Yeah, nice and clean and crisp, no lag.
Yep. We both have got the same emulator. I've gone and reshaded the hell out of it, so it looks absolutely dynamite. Don't need to pump it to 4K. It just looks really, really good. So that's the GameCube version. I'm now going to just stop that part of the video, and then what we might then do is we might do another race, Dan, where I will connect to you and then you host, so people can see what it looks like from my perspective.
We do the Wii game next?
Yeah, yes, we could do the Wii game next. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. So that was Dan wiping the floor. I suspect this is going to be 3-0 tonight. But what we're going to now do is we're going to move on to Wii. So on my build, I've got a shortcut box with all the scripting that sits behind it to do a very similar thing to Gamecube. In fact, it's exactly the same thing as it's pulling on the same emulator, but it's obviously using a different control function because it's Wii versus Gamecube. So I'm going to press play on here and then it will launch the X360 in the background and then the Dolphin emulator will bring up the same panel that we did for the GameCube. And then this time, Dan, who's on the line, is going to host, and I'm then going to join. And again, it's very similar windows. So, Dan, if you want to let me know when you've hosted.
Yep, I'll jump in and do that now.
And then what I will then do is when he says, yep, good to go, you can see here in this option, other than starting a netplay server, I'm just going to browse for a netplay session.
So that will be right to find now, Pete.
Okay, thank you. And then lo and behold, because both Dan and I have selected the region as Oceania, it's going to let us see each other a lot faster, because you can imagine there's not many people that probably even know how to do this stuff that we're doing at the moment, but which is good for us because it means there's no latency on the server. But we're using Oceania, so this is a way of doing a quick index. So if I went into here and selected any region and then did a refresh and including untick incompatible games, you can actually sort of see from around the world all the different there's not many of them, which is a bit surprising. There's all these different games that are happening and different types of games. So you can see that Dan's got the one listed at the bottom here with Mario Kart. What else are other people playing? They're playing New Super Mario Brothers, Kirby's Return, Mario Party 7, Dragon Ball Z. Someone else is playing Mario Kart Double Dash. Someone's playing The Legend of Zelda Mario Golf, which is pretty cool. I might have to suss that out one day. Super Mario Brothers, and yeah, lots of people are playing Mario Party 7. I have no idea what Mario Party 7 is, but maybe one day I might bother. Go into Oceania, hide incompatible games. Actually, there was someone there from Australia. There's 2 Oceania games. Mario Kart Double Dash, someone by the name of Corto, and another person named of Zua playing Kirby's Return. So, and one of them is playing a three-player game, Mario Kart Double Dash. There you go. But it's password protected, so Dan and I can't just go wander in and, steal jump in and show them how to actually, race. So I'll then double click on the server that's come up, and as you'll see, Dan is now in control, so I'm just in the lobby and Dan's going to go through and do his bit.
I'm just assigning controllers, same as what Pete would have done the first time in the first part of this video.
Fantastic, and he's launching. Great. You can see the reshode's kicked in. Let's move the mouse out of the way. Wheel is all ready to go. And then Dan is in control.
So we want to use the multiplayer at the top here, not the Nintendo WFC.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, yep, definitely.
So, Pete, you can assign your controller now. Should be able to select your character now, Pete.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Go for Yoshi. He's a cool dude. Oh, yeah. Pick your vehicles. And if you've never done Dolphin and not applied reshade, you're missing out. The video does not do the clarity of this system justice. It looks absolutely on point. Yeah, sure, it's not like the Nintendo Switch or the Wii U or anything like that, but it doesn't need to be, considering how old these systems actually are, to play a game like this. It doesn't look washed out. It doesn't look pixelated. It's just, yeah, it looks like $1 million.
Good to go, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Yeah, turn it up a little bit. That way you don't hear me cry. I'm on the bottom, aren't I? Yep, bottom. And just, yeah, look, it just looks so good. I keep not getting the goddamn boxes. And I'm too scared to touch the mystery cube. God, idiot. I keep looking above and getting distracted. Come on, give me something. What? And considering, as it was mentioned to Dan, I've got some stuff that is being uploaded into a server at the moment, and all the family, I have no doubt they're either watching, streaming, and doing other stuff. The connect, like from my perspective at least, the connection is absolutely buttery smooth. It's just so surprisingly good. I think it's better than the PlayStation 1 netplay look and feel, to be honest.
We've definitely weeded out a few games that run very well. There are a couple that will just not do this for us.
Yeah. Oh. Did I come? Oh, I didn't come first, but I came second. Did I beat you?
Yeah.
That's good. That's the main thing. There you go. So, guys, look, that's the Wii. So, again, just to recap, we'll put the links in the video description for the netplay wiki for Dolphin. But the key thing is the same emulator, the same ROM, using a good Ethernet connection. Yeah, sure, try Wi-Fi if you can. But if you were, I'd probably use the 5 gigahertz line as opposed to the 2.4 gigahertz line on Wi-Fi. And just follow those steps that we've got. And if you've got questions around that, let us know. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to PSPP, just so you can see how that's all sets up and works. And hopefully, this is great. And hopefully you'll enjoy doing online multiplayer, at least on Dolphin with a racing thing. And don't forget, we'll do a separate video using essentially the same technique, except we'll use different scripts to do the things that we need it to do. And we're going to use Michael Streener's build unashamedly to do that. So we can actually play multiplayer, except with light guns. So yeah, stay tuned for that separate video and setup guide. All right, so I'm just going to stop the video there, and then we'll move on to the next one.